Hi. I don't know if anybody is here yet. I see that some people are still joining us. Hello, thank you for joining. Great. So hello, my name is Ryan Belhabri and I'm the head of international admissions here at IPAG. Pour ceux qui sont des francophones, je vous préviens en fait que ce live aura lieu en anglais. C'est pour les étudiants qui sont intéressés par le programme BBA, donc qui est effectivement dispensé entièrement en anglais. Donc si vous avez des questions en revanche à poser en français, n'hésitez pas à les poser au niveau du chat, je traduirai et puis j'y répondrai en français ainsi qu'en anglais. Alright, so I was just saying that this live will actually be conducted fully in English. So to those who just joined me, hello, and hello Maxime, to everyone who is here today. So like I said, I'm the head of international admissions for our BBA program at IPAG. So some of you have received an email, some of you have seen on our social media that we'll be here today to speak about the BBA program. Hello Nare. So for everyone who is joining us, the BBA program at IPAG, for those who don't know it, is a 3-year degree. So the way we'll do it is I will probably just explain very briefly what the BBA is all about. And then afterwards, I'll just keep answering any question you may have. Maybe there are some students who have already applied to the program or who wish to apply. So if you have any questions regarding the BBA program, please feel free to do so. So just to start off, to make sure that everyone is here for the right reason, the BBA program, I would love some information in your MBA. So we'll actually have another live on the MBA program that will take place soon, hopefully. So you will definitely receive an email regarding that. However, if you have any questions regarding the MBA program, please feel free to just message us on Instagram and we will make sure to respond to you ASAP. So to keep going on the BBA program, so it's an undergraduate degree. So any student who is not currently in high school or in the first year or second year of the university degree, this program is not necessarily for you. Why? It's because it's a 3-year degree. So like I said, conducted fully in English. Hi, Quentin. So conducting fully in English, and it's a program, as you probably heard already in France, that exists all over the world and all over France. Why? Because a BBA literally means Bachelor of Business Administration. So a Bachelor of Business Administration, you can find it anywhere really in the world. But here in France, you have some of them who are actually taught in English and others in French. Ours at IPAG is a fully international BBA program, meaning that one, it's taught in English by professors who are native, and two, it's actually made and catered for international students. So I will answer the first questions that just came up. Will the next semester be online? When will the international borders open for international students who already got the visa? So obviously, I do not necessarily know when the borders will open. That's really a decision made by the government and not by us, the school. However, we will definitely know as soon as possible, hopefully. But the intake that is supposed to happen in September has not moved. So we are still on for the next intake. And if the borders are not open by then, we will either have online courses, so that will be the first option, and the second option will actually be to transfer the intake to the spring semester for the students who do not wish to have online classes. So you do have options, and that's actually what's great about the BBA program is that you get to have 2 intakes, the September intake, but also the January intake. Hello, Jad. If I could register with Libyan High School. Absolutely. So the BBA program is actually for students from all around the world. So you don't need to have French citizenship or be in a French high school in order to apply for the BBA program. We actually have more than 30 different nationalities in the BBA. So as an international student, you can definitely register. What about the deadline? So the thesis is postponed. I actually would recommend that you ask your coordination and your professors directly, as you know, the admissions department is not in charge of that directly, to be honest. And then what about the deadlines? Are they changed? Nare, which deadlines are you exactly talking about here? Write me a comment and I will answer your question later. So that's for Nare. And then Mehdi, what are the main differences between the Programme Grande École and the BBA? There are actually many differences. So the first one is, the Programme Grande École can be taught either in French in the regular track or in English in the American track. The difference is that the BBA program is fully in English, and obviously the Programme Grande École is a 5-year degree versus the BBA, who is a 3-year degree. The other really big difference is that the BBA is really targeted towards international students. So like I said earlier, you have more than 30 different nationalities in the classroom. So it does have that international flavor that maybe the Programme Grande École lacks a little bit. So that's the second option. And then the third big difference is that the courses are actually more based on the Anglo-Saxon system. So more, it's classes that you would find, I guess, more commonly in American or in British universities rather than the French ones. I hope that answers your question. So for Erasmus students, I would actually recommend that you get in touch with either Jaime or Caroline, depending on the campus that you're on, and they will definitely answer your questions. All right, so I see that I have a question regarding the application processes. The questions regarding the application processes. It's actually a process that can be done fully online. And this is why during this confinement, we're still, evaluating applications. We're still conducting interviews. So you can definitely still apply. And the way it works is that on the website, you have a little button on the right side of the screen that says apply. You just have to click on it, select BBA Fall 2020, which is September intake. And then afterwards, you actually get to upload some documents such as your resume, your personal statements, your transcripts of grades for the last 2 semesters or the last 3 trimesters. And as soon as that's done, your dossier, your application is being evaluated by your jury. So if the dossier is validated, then you will be contacted for an interview. And yes, indeed, thank you for that answer, Clément. The tests are recommended but not mandatory. So could we continue? Oh, the application deadline now. Yes, it actually moved. It's now the 3rd of July. So it used to be end of May, and now we actually pushed it back to the 3rd of July, so you can definitely still apply until July 3rd. So the student, the luxury brand management MBA student, I would actually recommend that you message us afterwards, because this is a BBA only live, and I can answer your question directly via Instagram direct messages on the MBA program. So there's a question on if we can continue to study to get a master's after the 4 years of BBA. So Mehdi, to answer your question, the BBA at IPAG is actually a 3-year degree, which is a huge advantage for students. Why? Because obviously, if you want to pursue a 2-year master degree, after a 4-year BBA program, you would necessarily have to do those 2 years. So that's 6 years total. Versus with a BBA program at IPAG, you have your 3 years, and you naturally, obviously, finish up your studies with a master's degree in 2 years if you wish to do so. You could do it at IPAG directly, either in the Programme Grande École or our MBA in 18 months, or you can go abroad or in another school in France and finish up your studies with a master's degree. So yes, that's definitely possible. So what's the difference between BBA program and American track? So I briefly answered that question earlier, but just to repeat that the BBA program is a very international program. So it has more than 30 different nationalities in the classroom, contrary to the Programme Grande École, who is more of a French degree, 1. 2, the classes are classes that you could find in an Anglo-Saxon, that is to say an English or an American university. So the types of courses that you would have, like for example, international finance, intercultural management, law, international economics, they're slightly different from something you would find in the Programme Grande École, in the American track. So that's the big difference. And then last but not least, obviously, the American track is in 5 years versus the BBA program is in 3 years. And I would also add that the BBA program allows you to earn a dual degree, so a degree from Nottingham Business School or South Wales University at the end of your 3 years, meaning that in 3 years of studying, you would actually earn not 1, but 2 degrees. So the interview will be when? It really depends on when you apply. So if you usually from the moment you finalize your application, the interview usually takes place a week after that. So there are a lot of questions regarding what is going on currently with the COVID and, the intake. So the information that I currently have is that obviously we do not know for sure if and when the borders will open. But what I do know is that the school has not changed its intake date. So for the BBA program, it's in the end of September. So that has not changed. However, if we consider the alternative where the borders do not open, the situation will be slightly different. You either will start your first semester, online, or you will have the option to defer your admission to the next semester, the next intake, which is in the spring in January. So we do provide two different alternatives for students who would rather not study online. All right, I see a question regarding a student who studies law. DBA, you're speaking about the DBA program, correct? If it's the DBA program, I would definitely recommend that you direct message us on Instagram and we will provide more information on the DBA program. But this live is exclusively on the BBA. About the bachelor, if I'm a second year student, So Nare, that is a good question. Absolutely. So the way the BBA works is that you can apply for the first, second, or third year. So it really depends on what you studied, on if you validated and finalized your year or not. However, since you are a second year student, you can either apply for the second year or for the third year of the BBA program by showing indeed your transcripts, all of your last transcript from the first to the second year, as well as your high school diploma. So I hope that helps. Yes, absolutely. Applications are definitely still open. Thank you, Clément, for that answer. Oh, Love 20. Your question, I actually meant to speak to someone else, but your question, due to this COVID, my result has not been declared of class 12, so what can I do to apply? So you're speaking about your current high school results. So that is fine. You can still apply with the transcripts that you have. So I'm sure you have your last transcript from last year and the beginning of this year. So you can definitely apply with that. And the jury will understand that the results have been delayed, the last results. I hope that helps. All right. So Juliet, yes, you can apply for the second year as long as you have validated your year. So if you are in the European system, you have to have validated at least 60 ECTS credits. If you're not in that system, it has to be an equivalent of those 60 ECTS credits. But what I would recommend is to definitely apply for the second year directly. And if the jury says that you do not, unfortunately, have the prerequisites because you don't have enough credits, to apply for the second year, they will recommend for you to apply to the first year. But the answer is yes, you can definitely apply for the second year. So I see a question about MSU AQD. So your answer is, can you change that into BBA program? So actually it's two different processes. The Programme Grande École is through indeed the Concours Sésame, which you already applied for. But the BBA program is an online application process and that's internal to the school. So what a lot of students do is that they apply for both programs to have, different opportunities and different alternatives. And that way they get to choose which program fits their profile better. So you can definitely apply for the BBA program on top of that Programme Grande École application, and we will definitely evaluate your application. And afterwards, you will just get to choose. If you do get admitted into both programs, you will just have to choose which program fits you best. So Mehmet Durgun, if you need a TOEFL or IELTS to be accepted. So no, you do not. It's not mandatory. It's recommended, but if you don't have one, you can definitely apply without it, especially if you're applying to the first year. And I would recommend for you to apply now because this is the time that we are, obviously the most reactive since we're all confined. So I would definitely recommend to apply now since the deadline is beginning of July, but right now we are seriously considering all applications. So Mehdi, there's a question regarding a year where you go into another university. That's a great student. So that's a great question. Sorry. So actually, in the BBA program, the first 2 years you have optional internships. So if you do decide to do that internship, you would actually get to do it either in France or abroad. So that's a personal choice. So that's already 3 months each year that you spend abroad. And the third year, you have 3 different options. The first option is the single diploma, which is actually 1 semester spent on the campus studying and 1 semester spent in an internship in France or abroad. And then the 2 other routes are Nottingham Business School dual degree or South Wales University dual degree. And with Nottingham, you actually do get to spend 1 full year at Nottingham Business School in England, where you completely immerse yourself in the campus life and you study with other fellow British and international students. So you do spend a full year abroad in England. And at the end of that, you get a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Honours of Arts from Nottingham Business School or South Wales University, plus your bachelor's at IPAG. So how many students are recruited on each campus? Yes, that's a great question. So actually in the BBA program in Paris, approximately you have 100 students on the Paris campus that are divided into groups of no more than 25 students. And on the Nice campus, it's probably half of that. And the Nice campus is definitely more human scale than the Paris campus. So we do have less students, but the classrooms in terms of student groups are still the same size in Paris and in Nice. Sibyl, the admissions are not on Parcoursup. They're fully on our website online. So it is what we call une procédure de candidature interne. So it's an internal application process to the school. So you can go on our website or message us on Instagram to have more info. And that way you can apply without going through Parcoursup. The Just PS, how's the Paris situation? What do you mean by that? Can you please elaborate on your question? And Aurélie Juliette, you're very, very welcome. Oh, the Just PS, I just saw your question regarding the MBA. I will just answer very briefly. No, unfortunately, we did close the specialization hospitality management. Love 20, that's a great question, but there is no grade, over which we will accept or not students. So it's really more of an application that's complete and very rich, meaning that you have, yes, your transcripts of grades, but you also have your resume and your personal statement. So we always say that a student with average results, but with a great personal statement and a great resume can at least shine, their motivation can shine through, and that can actually help the jury decide that they would like to see this student during an interview. Hello, Adrien Bondin. How are you? When are results given? So actually, we are pretty reactive regarding that. So meaning that once you apply, it's a 2-step process: the evaluation of your application file, of your documents, and then the interview that lasts 30 minutes. So from the moment when you apply, you finalize your application, and the moment when we call you to let you know if you got admitted into the school or not, it's never more than 2 weeks that lasts between those two steps. So I hope that answers your question. Shafiq, I am not in charge of admissions for the DBA program, unfortunately, but I would recommend for you to ask Mr. Nguyen directly or one of your professors if a live is actually offered for this program. Lucas Ross, yes, it is possible. I don't know if you already applied or not. If you did, you just have to send an email to us or a WhatsApp. There's pretty much my number everywhere in the application process, or message us on Instagram directly. If you haven't finalized your application yet, but you still wrote the semester of application, you can contact us to let us know that you made a mistake and that you wish to change that. How much is the tuition fee for the BBA program? So it's actually 8,900 euros per year. Considering that in the third year, depending on if you choose the dual or the single degree, if you choose the single degree, your tuition fees will stay at 8,900 euros. But if you do choose the dual degree, they will be of 11,000 for European students and 10,000 for European students and 13,000 for non-European students. So the situation with the corona, well, it's not a great situation, obviously, but I think the French government is definitely handling it. And us, within the school, we are doing everything we can to make sure that classes are still on, and that, the application processes are still going just as well as they were before. So no worry about that. Clem, the question, will you be the one doing the interview? It depends. It's always a surprise. So since I'm the head of admissions, it can be me, it can be the director of the program herself, or it can be a professor of the program. So I see a question about a BBA 3 who's going to graduate soon. I would definitely recommend, same thing, to reach out to your coordination directly, since I am not really knowledgeable enough to answer this question. So I see other questions about tuition costs. So tuition fees are 8,900 euros a year, except for the third year if you do decide to do a dual degree. Love 20, scholarships. You can ask for a discount in the BBA program that can be of maximum 1,000 euros, but obviously it is not a scholarship per se, but that discount can be applied for directly after registration if you do get admitted into the program, and it is based on especially academic, associative, cultural, and sports achievements, as well as the current financial situation of your family. Juliet, you can definitely send us a DM. What I'll do once you send me the DM is I will actually give you my phone number. That way we can directly communicate via WhatsApp or text message if that's easier for you. Okay. MSUA Cutie, how much is the registration fee? Will we wait for the starting to look on the student's application? That's a great question. So the registration fee is of 90 euros. So that's the application fees, actually. I guess that was your question, right? And we are not going to wait until July 3rd to look at students' applications. We actually evaluate them as they come. So let's say you apply today. Normally your application will be evaluated by the end of the week. So that's how it usually works. So Mohamed, you already have a licence. So yes, you can apply for a master's at IPAG, but that's apart from the BBA program. So Clem, yes, absolutely. So everything is done online. So we do make sure that the process is as smooth as possible, and the interview is indeed via video conference. So it's an online interview and it usually works just fine. So yes, indeed. What are the requirements required for the BBA program? So the requirements are an application file that you upload directly online through different documents such as your resume, your personal statement, and your transcripts, as well as the 30-minute interview conducted fully in English, obviously. Refund fees. Sinraj, what do you mean by refund fees exactly? If you do mean that if you are asking about the deposit being refunded, it is possible, but it depends on your situation. Especially if you don't, for example, if you apply for a visa and you get a visa refusal, obviously the deposit fee is refunded to the student. You're welcome, Clem. Marif 29. Yes, the interview is conducted fully in English for one simple reason. Since the program is fully taught in English, it is very important for us to judge if the student has the capacity to understand English English asked questions, and to respond to those questions as fluently as possible. So it is a 30-minute interview. It really depends on the jury, on your profile, but there are a lot of different various and diverse questions that they can ask, but it will be in English for the whole interview. MSUA Cutie, I would actually love if you could send us a DM, a direct message right after this live. That way we can put you in touch with our admissions team. That way we can send you that registration link, so you don't have to go all around the website to find it. And same thing for any other person who's on the live right now and who wishes to receive the registration link. If you haven't found it, you can definitely message us and we will put you in touch so that you can get it as fast as possible. So Clem, to answer your question regarding the interview, my personal recommendation would be to actually simulate an interview with one of your family members, one of your friends. The interview is really to get to know you. So we do evaluate the English level 1, but also we evaluate your motivation and your profile, meaning that we do get to see if you would be a good fit for the program, and even if the program would be a good fit for you as well. So my recommendation would be that you prepare at least your profile, your resume. You should know exactly what to say, when to say it, and answer the most basic questions that we always ask in interviews for business schools. 1. 2, be fully yourself, be fully transparent. I know we always say that, but I think that's an advice that I always repeat because I believe that's the strongest one. Just be yourself, because, we do receive a lot of different applications. We see a lot of different students in interviews, and it's nice to feel that you see an individual with their own profile, their own passions, their own personality. So you should definitely keep that. And last but not least, you should think a little bit about international news, obviously, and your project, your academic and professional project, why you would do this BBA program. So those would be my my biggest recommendations for the interview. Let me know if you have any questions after that. Navrazrai, yes, you can definitely apply from Nepal. It will actually be my colleague from the other admissions team who will take care of your application, but you can, of course. That's what's actually good about the BBA program. It's that we do welcome students from all over. Like I said earlier, for those who haven't heard me before, we have more than 30 different nationalities who are represented in the BBA program. So I think that's really the beauty of it. What's the English level that's recommended? I would say in the general level, it's B2. So B2 is really the minimum for you to be able to, have classes fully in English. Oh, Joel Berry, I do remember you. I actually remember seeing your application last year, so I'm glad you're here today. And yes, you can definitely. So a lot of BBA students actually, after they finalize their BBA degree, they decide to apply for the Programme Grande École. So that's a possibility. And they do, at the end of those 2 years of master's, they get the same exact degree as the ones who did the Programme Grande École from the start, so from the first year. So yes, it is definitely possible. Navrazrai, you are telling me I have a gap. I do not necessarily understand your question. So if you would elaborate, that would be great. Singraj, your visa refusals. I would ask you to please send us a direct message, because I don't know if you actually got in touch with the right person for your refund. So definitely send us a DM and I will put you in touch with the right person so you can get refunded. So Bishweta, I'm from Nepal. So like I said, since you're from Nepal, it's a different admissions team that takes care of applications for students from Nepal. So if you want, you can just send us a DM and I can put you in touch with the person who would answer your question better. Havivox, I'm applying for your exchange program. So you're going to spend 1 semester at IPAG, correct? If so, you should email the person at the international office. If you want, you can send us a direct message. That way I can provide their email address so you can confirm the information with them. But as far as I know, you do not need an English certification. Manu Milano, yes, I do speak French, indeed. Nare, obviously, we will definitely save the live. And what I'll do is, for anyone who has maybe more thorough questions or more personal questions on their profile or on their applications, I would advise for you guys to send me a DM on this account. And that way I will be the one answering all your questions. I will either provide my phone number or we will speak directly through Instagram. You're welcome, Havivox. And you're welcome, Bishweta. All right, Navrazar. So from what I understand, you finished up high school in 2018 and you took a gap year and now you wish to apply for the BBA program. That is definitely possible. And a gap year is something that is part of your profile, is part of your resume and your experience. And that's something that you should definitely shine light on in your resume and your personal statement. That's something that is seen as an advantage rather than a negative thing. All right. I think did I miss any question? Is there anyone that hasn't received an answer to their question? Please just feel free to repeat it right now since it's a little calmer. Manasan, I know you're speaking about the MBA program. Like I said, it's a BBA only live. We will have an MBA live later, probably in May. However, to answer your question, International Hospitality Management is not a specialization that we offer, unfortunately. So you do have the list of specializations directly on the website. Look at Ross. So actually, no. As an Erasmus student, it's a different program and a different process. So I would advise for you to get in touch with the international office directly. Same thing for Caroline Hersa. I do believe that you are an Erasmus student. So for all Erasmus students, what you can do is send me a direct message, and that way I can get back to you and give you the email address of the person who will answer your questions more thoroughly. But it is a very different process and a very different program than the BBA, simply because you only spend one semester and not 3 years. Jimmy, you wish to know the difference between the dual degree with South Wales and the one with Nottingham. So the biggest difference is that with Nottingham Business School, you actually get to spend 1 full year studying directly in England at Nottingham Business School with other British students and international students just like yourself. So it's a full academic immersion. So you spend your full year there studying only. Well, on the other hand, you have the South Wales University degree where you don't actually study physically in South Wales University directly. You actually study for 1 semester with professors of that South Wales University who come to teach you directly on the Nice campus. So you would have necessarily to spend your first semester of the 3rd year in Nice, which is, I think, a great option. You would spend your first semester in Nice with professors from South Wales who come to teach you. So those are the biggest differences between the two programs. And the other difference is that obviously with South Wales universities, from what you heard earlier, first semester is studying and second semester you would actually get to pursue and complete an internship of 6 months in France or abroad. Both universities, also that's a good piece of information to have, both universities are accredited and internationally recognized. What are some possible careers for a BBA graduate? There are a lot of different career options. You can either go into business development, you can go into supply chain and logistics, you can go into marketing, you can go into communications. So it's really diverse, and I will explain right now why. It's because the BBA program is a very general program, meaning that the courses that are taught in the BBA program are so wide or so broad that you get to really get all the different skills that you need to work in any department. So for example, there are students that I know that decided to pursue a master's degree after the BBA program, and others who decided to start working directly abroad, either in different industries, either in the banking area, in the in consumer product industry. You have a lot of different industries, luxury industry. It really also depends on your internships. I'm thinking of a student as well who completed 2 of his internships in finance, in the finance sector, and obviously his first job out of the BBA program was finance. Where can I work after completing a BBA at IPAG? That's the question I just answered as well. So it's very, very diverse, and it allows for different professional career options, which is great because you don't necessarily specialize too much into one thing, meaning that you can go into anything that really fits your profile. But it does depend on your internships, meaning that obviously if you pursue and complete an internship in marketing, it would not be that relevant for you to go into finance as a first job out of college. Oh, hi Dimitri. I hope you're well. I did spoke to your mom not too long ago. So you will receive that information from your coordination anytime now. So from what I remember, you haven't finalized your registration yet. So obviously, as soon as you do finalize your registration, you will receive any additional information you would need. So there's that one last step that you need to complete before you receive that information. Babzize, what is the exact date the incoming fall semester starts? It's September 21st. And when will it end? Well, you'll have Christmas holidays. So I believe it's around the 20th of December that you actually go on vacation, and you start school again in mid-January. And afterwards, well, that's a 3-year degree. So you really do spend your 3 years studying with us. You're welcome, Mr. Jawai, for this information. And do you think Erasmus students will be able to enter Nice in September? I don't know. That really depends on obviously the borders being open or not. So that depends on the government really, and not really on the school. Oh, is it expensive to stay in Nice for 1 year? Well, it's definitely cheaper than Paris, if you do compare both campuses. However, it depends on where you live, if it's close to campus, if it's a little further. But it is a pretty affordable city, and you have a lot of different, there's a lot of information regarding the price of living, the cost of living in Nice online. Clem, we had some reference letters. So Clem, that's a good question. You do not necessarily need to translate those reference letters. Why? Because our jury is bilingual. They do speak both languages. So you can definitely upload them as they are. And I would say that it is a great way actually, to add something very enriching to your profile and your application. And that will be appreciated by the jury. What are the different specializations in BBA program, and do we have other language classes? So like I explained earlier, there is no real specialization in BBA program. BBA literally means Bachelor of Business Administration, so it is known to be a very general degree, and it's a similar degree that you would find in what we call Bachelor of International Business in the US or in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom. So it's really the same type of degrees, and they are meant to be super general for you guys to get all the different skills that you would need in any international career. However, in the 3rd year, if you do choose the single diploma or the Southwest University diploma, you get to choose 2 electives that do add a little flavor and a little specialization on your degree and in your curriculum. So what I would advise for you to do is download the brochure directly on our website, and it does provide more information on the different detailed courses that we offer in the BBA program. And when you say registration fee, I am guessing you are speaking about the application fee. And it is, well, it's actually for both campuses. When you apply for the BBA program as is. And once, you are enrolled, you decide where you want to go. You decide if you want to join the Paris or the Nice campus. So you do have to only pay the application fee once. You're welcome, Clem. I hope that helps. I see that. I see that. Ori Juliet, you asked me earlier for an email address. So like I said, I would definitely advise for you to send us a DM. I don't know if you saw that already. Send us a DM and I can provide either my email address or my phone number and we can discuss further. You're welcome, Clem. It's a pleasure. Marif29, if your grades and your diploma are in French, that is enough. As long as they're officially translated in French, that is good enough. Simply because, like I said, our jury does speak French as well, so they can check and evaluate your application with that information written in French. That's great. So you do not need to go through the burden of translating it once again in English. You're very welcome, Juliet. Hello, Mosavi. Hello from here, Paris, confined. Are there any other very specific questions on the BBA program? Is there something that sounded a little off, something that you didn't really understand clearly? Maybe I can answer that question as well. And I see that MSU Acuity, I forgot to answer your last question, if we have other language classes. So obviously the first language in the BBA program is English, and the second one is optional, but you do get to choose an optional second language. It could be Spanish, it could be Italian, it could be German, it could be Portuguese, it could be Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, or Russian. So you do get to choose another language. Is a 3-year degree in BBA program equivalent to a 5-year degree? No. And that answer will be the same answer anywhere around the world. When you do study for 3 years, you don't earn a 5-year degree, and that seems logical. However, the advantage of the BBA program is that after those 3 years, you can directly go into a 2-year master's degree without having, to spend those 2 years on top of a 4-year BBA degree. So yes, it is not equivalent. So for students who do wish to earn a master's degree, I would definitely advise them to, after this BBA program, apply for a 2-year master's degree, or an MSc in 1 year and a half, or an MBA program in 1 year and a half at IPAG or in another school. Is it easy to find an internship in the second year of BBA? That is a great question. From my experience and the students that I've talked to in the past, it is not hard. Why? Because the school is here to really help out. There are a lot of different tools that are given to the students. There is the Career Center, who is literally, the place where you go to have assistance regarding your internship search. So they can help you by providing, a database of our alumni. So that's already one piece of information. We also have a platform where you can find a lot of different internship offers specifically for our IPAGian students. Or you have also events that are organized in order to find an internship. So I've had communication with a lot of different BBA students, and they did manage to find an internship in their line of work, or at least in the industry where they wish to work in the future, with not that much issues. And they did it either in France or abroad. Manasan, what about after college placements? Are you speaking about professional opportunities? Is that what it is? If you can just confirm that, and I will answer that question right away. And Joe, you're welcome. Is it possible to attend extra courses in addition to the ones included in the second year of the BBA program? So I believe, Luca, you are an Erasmus student. So if you are an Erasmus student, it is really a whole other different process. The classic, well, at least the BBA program as I know it, already has quite a lot of different courses. So you technically couldn't add other classes, other courses, because you simply wouldn't have the time. However, as an Erasmus student, like I said, you, and as well as the other Erasmus student that asked her question earlier, I don't remember your name, but you know who you are. That was Caroline, I remember. You should definitely DM us. That way we can provide the email information of our international office, who are literally the people who know everything about Erasmus and exchanges. What about DBA? So this is BBA Live, so it's exclusive to the BBA program. So for the DBA course, I would recommend to ask the question directly on our website. There's a chat. Upload the brochure, or you can DM us and I can provide the email information of the person in charge of the DBA program, if that helps, Musabi. Hi, hello everybody. There's a lot of highs and hellos. Are there any other questions? You are very welcome, Luca. Is there any other question that I haven't answered yet? So that I can answer it before, obviously, the live is off. I still have plenty of time, so please feel free to ask me any other questions. I think everyone is all set. Everyone seems all set with all the questions they've asked. I hope you really got all the answers. Maybe one last piece of information. Oh, do you provide French courses? That's a great question. So you do have the option to take what we call business French courses, but that's not directly related to the BBA program. So same thing, I would definitely, recommend to send us a DM. That way we can get closer and get in touch with the person in charge of those language courses. That'll be easier for you as well. But what's great about the BBA program as well is that you get to study with international students, like I said, more than 30 different nationalities, but also some French and French-speaking students. So you do get to practice your language, well, your level of French, pretty much every day in class, in corridors, in the cafeteria. So I think that's the great thing about the BBA program. And it's the great thing about pursuing a BBA degree in English, but located physically in France. MSUA Cutie. So it is not equivalent to the TOEFL. However, like I said, since the TOEFL is non-mandatory, I would recommend for you to submit it. That would be a good way for us to know, to understand your level of English. I think that would be great. You can definitely submit it, although it is not mandatory. That's not an issue. So to really come back on, the issue of the COVID and the applications, I know there are a lot of students that are wary of what's going on and of really finalizing their application because of the current situation. Just know that here at IPAG, we really are making sure that it hasn't, destroyed or changed or transformed our process in a way or another. So, the online application still works exactly the same. You can still submit all your documents online with us. We will still provide what we call an admissibility result, meaning that we will let you know if your application was validated by the director of the program or not, and that's within 72 hours. So that's really something that is important for us to make sure that you get an answer as fast as possible. And afterwards, the interview comes, usually pretty soon after that. So that does help in knowing if you got admitted to the program, and that's usually no more than 2 weeks after the initial application date, like I said. And afterwards, the admissions team is really here to help you regarding, for any questions regarding your admission, your registration, or your visa process, which can get a little tough through those times. Are there any other questions? I see that you guys are still there. There are still 24 people watching, 22 now. People are slowly leaving. So for the people who are still here, the 21 people who are still here, was that clear? Did you get answers to any questions you did have? I would love to answer the last questions before I finalize the live. Manasan, can you please send us a DM with your request, since you have questions regarding the MBA program, and this is a BBA only live. We would be really glad to answer your question, but directly via direct message. That'll be easier for us as well as for you. All right, no other question? No other questions at all? So I think there are not. Great. So I really hope this live was, informative. It was enriching, and I hope it did provide all the last answers and information that you really did not have. So you can definitely, like I said, send us a DM on Instagram. We will love to answer any question, any other questions you may have, or if you want to ask for a specific email address or phone number, that would be great as well. I hope that helped, and you're welcome, Juliet. You're welcome, Dimitri, Manasan, everyone else. You're welcome. So for those who are already IPAGians or who are already admitted or registered, welcome to the family. I'm thinking of, Joe, who is already in the IPAGian family, and Dimitri, who I know just got his admission for the fall intake. I am glad I could answer all your questions. Oh, I have another question. Is it possible to obtain the BBA degree in less than 1 year if we have 3 years of level? No, it is not. Unfortunately, if you do apply for the 3rd year, you would necessarily have to complete your full year to earn your credits, your 60 ECTS credits in order to graduate. Great. Well, thank you, Clem. I am well. I hope everyone else is well and staying safe and confined. But no matter what, like I said, although we are confined, we're still here to help out, to answer any questions you may have, and to reassure you in the best way possible. So really just feel free to reach out to us. We're here to answer all your questions and doubts. Is there also the Association 5? Well, it's not an association per se, it's a welcome week. And yes, you do have orientation during the BBA program, and that helps to really meet new students, to really get to know your professors, your classmates, and students from other programs and other classes. So that is a great alternative as well. All right, if there are no... Well, I'll wait maybe 2-3 more minutes to see if there are more questions, because I keep saying bye. I have been saying bye to you guys for, let's say, 5 minutes now. So I'll wait 3 more minutes. If there are no other questions, I will shut down the live. But like I said, please stay safe, and please know that the applications and the information process are still on. We're still here. We're still working. So it's, I guess, for some students it may be easier to speak directly over the phone, which is fine. So for those students, I'm thinking of Juliet or any other student who really wanted and wished to have direct communication with our team. You can send us a DM, and I will make sure to get back to you with a phone number. All right. Is there further live for MBA Master? Yes, Mohammed. We will actually have a live in May. And the great thing about it is that we will have, we'll invite professors, or at least masters plus specializations managers for each specialization in the MBA program. So we'll make sure to answer all your questions accordingly. And yes, our email address is right in the comments, international@ipag.fr. And for those who are confused about a question, a program, or courses, you can definitely send us a DM to have my personal phone number directly if you do not wish to send an email. Manasan, it really depends on the program, but yes, the school is accredited. Thank you, Alexandra. I look forward to seeing you in the next live. Great. All right. So if there are no other questions, thank you. Oh, there's another one. Clem. If your application is not approved, is it useful to apply for the next semester? Yes, you can definitely do that. That is an option. And I do think it is useful in the sense that if your application is rejected, that means that you do not yet either have the level of English or the right grades or the right motivation for the program. Usually, I guess the biggest obstacle, especially for French-speaking students, and I'm guessing you are a French-speaking student, it is the level of English. And if the jury decides that the level of English is not up to par yet, and it would actually be it would deserve you to admit you into the program because you would just fail your classes, then they would reject you for that semester. But you should definitely apply for the next semester if that happens. But I am optimistic. That's my nature. And I always say that, if you do believe that you can complete and you can pursue a program in English, that is definitely an option. Oh, of course we met. Yes, Clem, I do remember you, definitely. We spoke for a while during the open days. And I remember that you spent a year in Canada. So yes, you can. It's definitely useful. But from what I remember, your level of English was pretty good. So I would definitely advise you to apply with not too many doubts. Awesome. I'm glad you're here on the live. It's nice to, well, not see you, but speak to you again. It's funny because I'm speaking to all of you guys, but only you can see me. I can't see any of you. All right. I think we're really getting towards the end now. I will still wait, like I said, for 2 more minutes. If you guys don't have any more questions, you can just exit the live. That way I can see the little 23 number up there go down. That will make me a little upset, but at the same time, that will make me understand that it is the end of this live. But I'll just wait for 2 more minutes for more questions. You're very welcome, Clem. And Clem, you already have my phone number, so you can definitely WhatsApp me if you have any further questions. I think everyone is all set. Nobody has any more questions. What we'll do is that Clément did write down our email address in the comments. I will actually write it down one more time. That way you guys can email us there. Or what you can do is directly send us a DM. That way I can provide my WhatsApp number if that's easier. I personally love WhatsApp. So if you do want to reach out via email, good for you. But if you do want to speak via WhatsApp directly, just DM us and I will provide that information. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I'm glad I could help out today. For the MBA students, there will be another live. I can confirm it. And for the BBA students, I look forward to receiving your applications. Please stay safe and please stay warm. All right. Nice. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.